Good morning. So imagine the future, instead of talking on your phone, you talk to your phone. Apple's long-awaited AI device is set to be announced later on today. I'll get you more right after this short break. Biggest day of the year for the world's biggest company. Apple set to announce the new AI-powered next-generation iPhones, which analysts hope will power a new upgrade supercycle. So the so-called glow-up event, as they call it, will show off their new hardware that will feature their new AI software. So think of ChatGPT, photo edits, autocalls, etc. Now, along with a new iPhone, the iPhone 16, Apple is likely to also announce an entire new line of watches and AirPods. Now, one thing that Wall Street will be watching very closely will be pricing. You know, Apple hasn't raised iPhone base prices in a few years, and most analysts expect them to keep it the same this year, and that's to entice users to upgrade. Also remember that the iPhone still makes up more than half of Apple's sales, which we know has fallen now some 4 out of the past 6 quarters, and that's the longest losing streak in over 20 years. Wall Street does expect the iPhone sales to jump by 10% this year compared to last year, and that's on the AI hype and the excitement. Remember that Apple CEO Tim Cook had told me last week and last month that they expect to increase their spending on AI significantly this year and going forward, even though Apple currently spends less in the AI arms race versus their other tech giants and competitors across the valley. Now, Apple tells me that's because they have a different business model, which means less spending when it comes to servers and data centers. Now, we also expect that Apple will introduce a new chipset, the A18, and their new iPhones. And just remember, Cheryl, that the stock usually falls in the last few years on event launch day, but then ends higher throughout the rest of this year.
Susan,
expecting 90 million iPhones to be sold before the end of this year on that AI excitement and hype and that upgrade cycle. If you talk to Wedbush and Dan Ives, he expects 300 million iPhones, AI-powered iPhones, to be sold in the next few years. Remember that there are over 2.5 billion people that use Apple devices around the world, the installed base, as we call it, and close to 1.5 billion that use iPhones, and they're expecting a major upgrade, and that means a lot more buying and revenue for Apple in the future. Anniversary of the launch of the watch, which was first introduced back in 2014, and yes, sales have been sluggish, say, in the past year or so, but there's also been some redesigns in the new devices. And don't forget these new AI features. You know, a lot of people will say that will entice people to upgrade, and people usually keep their iPhones now for about 3 years or so. So, you know, a lot of people on the market say it might be time and due for them to buy this new iPhone, especially with some slick new features and enticing new AI. Well, Eastern today, upgraded cameras as well expected in the new iPhone.